Did you know that 70% of lottery winners go broke within 3 to 5 years? Yes, it's true, and it happens because they don't do these 10 important things as soon as they win. Number 10. Remain anonymous. Winning the lottery? That's the easy part. The real challenge is keeping it under wraps. Seriously, going public with a big win is like sending an open invitation to everyone. Suddenly, your long-lost relatives, old friends, and complete strangers will come knocking on your door, all with their hands out. You'll be doing a full-time job managing all these tasks. If you start giving them money, you'll lose your winnings in no time. And if you don't give them anything, all the requests will be overwhelming for you. So the best thing to do is to stay anonymous. Trust me, it's a lifesaver. In some states, they get it. They let you keep your name out of the papers and off the evening news. If you're in one of those states, do it. Stay anonymous. First off, you will dodge that crazy spotlight. No more worrying about everyone knowing your business and your bank balance. And then another important thing, you'll stay safe. Staying anonymous is crucial because when your name is out there, it's not just your friends who notice, it can attract the wrong kind of attention. But let's say you're not in a state that lets you stay anonymous. What then? Well, you've got to be smart, and you've got to get smart fast. Think about setting up a trust or something similar to claim the prize. That way, it's not your name plastered everywhere. The bottom line is that if you ever find yourself holding that winning ticket, remember, the quieter you keep it, the better off you'll be. Now, when you'll be finding ways to hide your identity, the lottery officials will require you to make a choice about something, and this choice will determine if you'll be able to preserve your lottery winnings in the long run. Number 9. Lump sum or annuity. When you win the lottery, one of the biggest decisions you have to make is choosing between a lump sum and an annuity. Most people jump at the lump sum because, well, let's face it, who doesn't want a mountain of cash right now? But that option isn't the best choice here. Choosing the lump sum means you lose 24% to federal taxes, and sometimes even more to state taxes. Think about it. If you win, say, $100 million, taking the lump sum could slash that amount by nearly half once federal and state taxes take their bite. And that's before you even start spending. Let's say you're happy with losing that half. Next comes the spending spree. You know, you've got this huge pile of money, and it's easy to lose control. People often go on a spending spree, buying houses, cars, any luxury thing they can think of. Before they know it, they've blown through their winnings and are back to square one. So to prevent this from happening and preserve your lottery winnings, the best option is to take the annuity. What's an annuity? Well, it's a steady paycheck from your lottery win, spread over 20 to 30 years. You get the full amount of your winnings, but in smaller, more manageable chunks. This way, you don't get hit with massive taxes all at once, and you're less likely to blow it all in a few years. Even though an annuity is not as flashy as getting all that money up front, it's a smart play if you want to preserve your winnings. It keeps you on a budget and makes your fortune last longer. You're less likely to find yourself broke after a few years. But if you're confident in your money management skills, the lump sum could work for you. Just remember, it's a bit of a gamble. You're taking on a lot of cash at once, and it's on you to make it last. So weigh your options carefully. Do you want the excitement of a big payout now, or the security of steady money for years to come? It's your call. And if you do go for the lump sum option, make sure to follow the next step. Number 8. Hire a financial advisor. Your next move should be hiring a financial advisor. But not just any advisor, you need someone smart but also stern. Someone who's not afraid to tell it to you straight, even if it's not what you want to hear. This financial advisor will create a plan tailored to your new financial status. They will pick good stocks or investments for you and also formulate a comprehensive strategy covering everything from budgeting to long-term wealth preservation. They will assess your situation, consider your goals, and build a roadmap to keep your finances healthy. If you have a financial advisor guiding you on every step, you're unlikely to make common mistakes that often lead to the loss of all the lottery winnings. Without proper guidance, it's easy to overspend, making poor investment choices or neglect the impact of taxes on your wealth. Your advisor will set boundaries for your spending and make sure you're not just living for today, but also securing your future. No one likes doing taxes, right? Now imagine doing taxes for your lottery winnings. This is where your financial advisor will come to the rescue yet again. They'll handle complex financial tasks like tax planning and estate management. Taxes can take a significant bite out of your winnings, so your financial advisor will tell you ways in which you can protect your money. They'll work on strategies to minimize your tax burden legally and effectively. Hiring a financial advisor will definitely set you up for long-term success. And speaking of smart moves, this next step is another way to make sure you never go broke after your big win. Number 7. Set up an emergency fund. Winning the lottery is a whirlwind, and you can easily forget one critical thing. Life's unexpected twists and turns don't stop just because you're suddenly wealthy. And that's exactly why setting up an emergency fund is a non-negotiable. An emergency fund will be your financial safety net for those unforeseen bumps down the road. Because emergencies don't send a heads up. A sudden health issue, a major home repair, or even a job loss, because, yes, it happens, can come out of nowhere. Your emergency fund will keep these surprises from eating into your main stash of lottery winnings. So, how do you start? Well, first, find a good spot for this fund. A savings account works great. It's easy to access but separate enough from your regular accounts to avoid temptation. Now, let's talk numbers. How much should you put in this fund? A good rule of thumb is to have enough to cover 6 months to a year of living expenses. We're talking rent or mortgage, food, utilities, the whole shebang. And don't worry, setting up this emergency fund can be a breeze if you automate it. Set up your account so a portion of your lottery winnings goes directly into this emergency fund. Out of sight, out of mind, but always there when you need it. Doing this, you'll be making sure your lottery winnings last. So if and when life throws a curveball, you'll be ready to catch it without a financial worry in the world. And now comes one of the most difficult things to do. Number 6. No sudden lifestyle changes. Have you ever heard of Jack Whittaker? He won $313 million USD in the lottery in 2002. That year, he was one of the luckiest men alive. However, he declared bankruptcy just 5 years later. So, what happened? Well, he made 2 big mistakes. First, he took a lump sum. This gave him only $113 million USD out of the $313 million pool. His next mistake was that he went on a spending spree. Big house, fancy cars, gambling, you name it. He didn't think of his future and spent all his winnings in the initial days. A classic case of too much, too fast. So, do you want to keep your winnings? Then listen up. Avoid sudden lifestyle changes. Here's the game plan. Start with a solid budget. Sit down with your financial advisor and figure out how much you can splurge without tipping the scales. You don't necessarily have to live like a monk. You just have to find a balance. Set aside a portion for fun stuff, sure, but keep it realistic. And then go for long-term things. Instead of buying the most expensive house on the block, opt for something comfortable and within a smart price range. The same goes for cars, vacations, and other big-ticket items. Luxury is fine, but within limits. Remember, the more you spend now, the less you'll have later. Also, consider the ongoing cost of your new purchases. A big house means big bills. Maintenance, property taxes, utilities. Every luxury item adds to your regular expenses, so think about whether you're ready for that long-term commitment. To avoid overspending, you have to value experiences over possessions. Use your money for travel, learning, and adventures. These bring joy without the burden of ongoing cost. And take it slow. Ease into your new wealth. Sudden changes can lead to bad decisions. Gradual shifts in your lifestyle will allow you to adapt and make thoughtful choices. If you ever start to get off track, remember Jack Whittaker's story. Never do what he did if you want to live the lottery dream without the nightmare ending. While in this step, we advised you not to spend too much money. For the next step, you'll have to pay anything you have to check it off the list. Number 5. Pay off your debts. Paying off your debts might not give you the same thrill as buying a luxury car, but believe me, it's a big power move for your financial health. Imagine your lottery winnings as a bucket of water. Debts are like holes in that bucket. Even if you're pouring more water in, you're still losing it through those holes. So the sooner you patch them up, the better. So what does paying off debts do for your winnings over time? Well, it sets you free from the burden of interest. Credit card debts, loans, mortgages, they often come with high interest rates that keep compounding. By clearing these debts, you will be able to eliminate monthly payments and stop these interest costs from eating away at your lottery winnings. But approach this strategically. Start with high-interest debts, as they're the most damaging. Then work your way down to loans with lower interest rates. This method ensures that you tackle the most financially draining debts first. After doing this, you have to take yet another step to make sure this debt never comes climbing again. Number 4. Make a budget plan. Making a budget plan might not sound like the most exciting part of winning the lottery, but it is a smart move. It's all about managing your winnings wisely so you can enjoy them for a long time. For this step, you need to know about the famous 50-30-20 rule. It's the best way to divide up your spending and savings. First, allocate 50% of your winnings to your needs. This includes your day-to-day stuff like groceries and bills, and also bigger payments like your mortgage, insurance, and healthcare. These are your essentials, the non-negotiables. Keeping half of your winnings for these will make sure you're always covered, no matter what. Then 30% of your money will go to your wants. This is where you can have a little fun. New car, fancy vacation, go for it. But remember, this is just 30%, so don't get carried away even if you've got a lot in the bank. Stick to this limit to keep your spending in check, because this is the part where it all goes wrong. You won't even notice how quickly the needs would drain your lottery winnings. Finally, and maybe most importantly, 20% goes straight into savings, or say long-term. Retirement funds, investments, maybe even some money set aside for future generations. This 20% is about building your financial future and making sure your lottery win keeps working for you for years to come. While you're smartly managing your winnings with the 50-30-20 rule, there might be some people out there trying to poach your winnings. So to stop them in their tracks, here's what you need to do. Number 3. Protect your assets. This part includes safeguarding your money and your assets from those who might want a piece of your pie. These could be creditors, disgruntled spouses or ex-spouses, and people who might see your winnings as an opportunity to sue. First things first, get yourself a solid attorney. Not just any lawyer, but someone who specializes in asset protection. They are your first line of defense in keeping your wealth secure. Your attorney can help you set up roadblocks to protect your assets. One way is through state law exemptions. These laws vary by state, but they can offer protection for certain assets, like your home or retirement accounts, from creditors or lawsuits. Another strategy is creating barriers using trust, family limited partnerships, or limited liability companies. These are more than just fancy legal terms. They're your best bets to keep your money safe. For example, a trust can shield your assets from lawsuits and creditors. Family limited partnerships and limited liability companies also offer protection. They can limit how much creditors can claim and provide a layer of privacy for your assets. Say that you're successfully protecting your assets and trying to keep the bank balance within the same range, but still, the government will not hesitate for a second to take a good chunk of your money in the name of taxes. But don't worry, we have a way to stop that from happening too. Number 2. Donate to charity. Did you know when you donate to charity, the IRS gives you a tax break? This means you can reduce the amount of your income that's taxed, depending on how much you give to charity. Let's see how it works. It can usually deduct up to 60% of your adjusted gross income in donations. So if you make $100,000 and you donate $60,000 to charity, you can deduct that whole amount from your taxable income. It's like the IRS only taxes you on $40,000 instead of the full $100,000. But there are some limits, depending on where you're donating. If you give to places like churches, hospitals, or government organizations, you can deduct donations up to 50% of your income. So if you're making $100,000, you can deduct up to $50,000 in donations to these places. For other types of organizations, it might be a little bit less, like up to 40% of your income. In simple terms, donating to charity can be a smart move. You help others and reduce your taxable income, which can save you money when tax time rolls around. So if you're planning to donate, think about how much you want to give and where you want to give it. But when we say donate, it doesn't mean you should just hand out money to anyone who asks. Number 1. Say yes less often. When you win a lottery, don't become the Santa Claus. You don't want everyone lining up for a piece of your fortune, because remember, your winnings are finite. So saying yes to every request can drain them faster than you think. So tell yourself and acknowledge it by heart that it's okay to say no. It doesn't make you stingy or unkind. You're just protecting your financial future. Every time you say yes to a friend's or family member's request for a loan, you're chipping away at your winnings, and these little chips can add up to a big dent over time. Set boundaries and stick to them. Decide in advance what you're willing to spend on others. Maybe set a monthly or yearly limit for gifts and loans. When you hit that limit, start saying no. Also, be strategic about your generosity. Instead of handing out cash, consider other ways to help. Maybe offer advice, support, or connections instead of money. This way, you'll still be helping, but you won't be compromising your financial security. Your friends might also come to you with investment opportunities that they might think would make you a billionaire. But don't jump on every bandwagon that comes your way. Remember, you have a financial advisor for a reason. Before you put a dime into any investment, no matter how promising it sounds, run it by them. Your advisor is there to help you sift through what's a good opportunity and what's just a money pit in disguise. Not every investment is worth your money, and some can be downright risky. If you stick to these steps right after winning the lottery, you'll be on track to keep your money safe and make it last way longer than just a quick, flashy moment. If you want to know more secret tips for increasing and preserving your lottery winnings, watch our next video. In the next 2 minutes, you'll know exactly what to do immediately after you win a $1 billion lottery jackpot.